Hey guys, it's Carl Brown here for guitarlessons365.com. Got a song that is impossible not to be in a good mood while listening to. We're gonna learn how to do Mr. Blue Sky by Jeff Lynne's Electric Light Orchestra. The song is brilliant. It's got this whole, it just goes anything. It just kind of starts off this nice like poppy tune, and then it just, here's some really cool, interesting chords from here to there. And then it just kind of works its way all the way to the ending section, which, you know, most people know a lot of radio edits cut it off, but that ending section just kind of starts with like, goes into like a D flat Lydian vamp and then moves into like Rachmaninoff territory. And then it's just very, very, very cool. So not much of a guitar-based song. So a lot of these chords are just kind of my own arrangement of what's going on with all the orchestration, the pianos, and all the other instruments and stuff too. So that's the great thing about things like this. You'll see it kind of like, you know, probably taught many different ways, and because it's simply, there's a lot of ways to play these same chords. But anyway, before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the notification bell, you know, all that good stuff. And if you really, truly want to support what I do here on YouTube with all these constant song lessons, we're pushing a couple thousand here soon, over the course of many years. The best way to really do it is to join my Guitar Academy. My Guitar Academy contains all of my courses. I have courses for complete beginners to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, theory. I'm there with live streams every weekend. We're just Academy members, and you get support from me beyond that. So, again, great community, and it's a great way to support, you know, a channel that you watch on YouTube that YouTube is slowly making sure it dies. So we need to get some people into the Guitar Academy. Anyway, free 7-day trial if you click that link in the description. All right, let's jump into the track. Standard tuning, nothing too bad there. And we're gonna start here. The intro of the song kind of starts with just this kind of F major chord vamp. So that's just a full bar at the first fret, second fret on the G, third on the D, third on the A. So you'll notice that a lot of this throughout the whole intro here, when I'm hitting, so basically when it's I'll get to, we have some open position chords, which you kind of mute a little bit different. But for all the other ones here, there's pretty much bar chords throughout. And so when you hit the chord, you immediately release the pressure. You don't have to leave the strings, just kind of hit it, release the pressure, and then put the pressure back on right before the next hit. And then you kind of get that feel going. So that's how you get that kind of jumpy sound that they've got going. All right, so you're gonna start with just that F. It starts doing another instrument, start doing that F, and then we kick into it. It's the first chord in the verse, and that verse is like this. So it starts with that F, so we have the same rhythm throughout. After the F, so that's what kind of how long it holds that F. It jumps up here to this E minor, so that's how I'm playing it up here. Because this is a bar chord, but it's actually, we're gonna go through a sequence of chords. 2-5-1, I mean, just 5-1 kind of progression here. And it's all gonna be the same chord voicing, just played across different strings. So you see what I mean? So this E minor 7 here, all you need to do is bar from the high E string to the A string, right? At the 7th fret. In front of that, play the 8th fret on the B, and then the 9th fret there on the D. So you have a low E in there too, but kind of just messes, you know, you don't really need it. This way it's easier to mute, just kind of, I'm muting that low E string with the tip of that index finger. So it's kind of barring 5 strings, but it's going right past that 5th one and just touching the bottom of that 6th string to keep it from ringing. All right, so we have this, we'll do that same kind of staccato strumming there, all downstrokes. And then what we're gonna do here is what I talk about. You could basically, if you moved every single, so the bar becomes a 6-string bar, so you bar 6 strings down, and you move these two these two fingerings up a string. So over to the 8th fret on the G, and then the 9th fret there on the A, we have a different voicing. Now, when you play that same shape over here, on those across 6 strings, it's a dominant 7 chord voicing. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna move it down 2 frets to the A, so make it an A7, so it's at the 5th fret. So from this E7, we're gonna go across the strings and down 2 frets, the same shape to make it an A7. Then we're gonna go back down to the previous shape, but we're gonna stay in the same fret, so we're back in minor 7 territory. So this is just bar across 5 strings, and these two fingers are back down on the B and the D string. And then we'll do the same move we did before, back down to the 6th string. So this is back to the G string, and this is back to the A string, but it's the same shape, so it's a full 6-string bar so at the G. So we have this. So after. All right, now from here we have to go to some open chords. So we're gonna go to an E minor 7 chord. This was a pretty easy way to play it here. So we just have the open E, 2nd fret on the A, 2nd fret on the D, open G. That 3rd fret there on the B string is gonna be a very important note because we're gonna voice lead that down to the next chord, and then the open high E string. So here, since we have open strings, it's kind of easier to just kind of do the mute with the back of the palm down here. So you just kind of, now the hand's kind of bouncing. And then we're gonna take it down to the next chord, which all you have to do is pick up the index finger, so make it an open A string. And that note that was on that 3rd fret there on the B string, move it down to the 2nd fret. This other one stays at the 2nd fret on the D. Now this is a 5-string chord, so you're gonna not hit the low E string anymore. Just from the 5th across, this is an A dominant 7 chord. So far I have this. Now we're gonna go to a B flat major chord. Now I play this one different than most people would. The notes are this 1st fret here on the A, and then you're gonna bar the 3rd fret across the D, G, and the B. So most people would play that with their ring finger. Just the 4 middle strings. I like to play with my pinky. Why? It allows me to keep my wrist angle the same. Just more comfortable if you get used to it. But most people aren't. That's fine too. But then what we're gonna do, the next chord is B flat, C in the bass. So B flat over C. So basically, that's just a bar across the 3rd fret from the B to the A string. So basically took that B flat chord and just moved that bottom note up 2 frets. So coming from the E minor 7. Then back to the F, and then back to that B flat over the C we just did. All right, and that's the whole verse. Repeat that. So you just kind of repeat the whole verse again. And then we get to what I call the chorus. It's kind of like there's a lot of voices saying Mr. Blue Sky kind of all around in this part. This one's played twice. It's twice through here at the beginning. And so this next section looks like this. That leads us to the solo. So basically what this is you're gonna start up here at the 5th fret. A lot of bar chords, I know, but they're healthy for it. It's good chord work out here in this song. So we're gonna do from the high E string to the A string, barring at the 5th fret. Then in front of that, you'll play the 6th fret there, and this is a D minor chord, by the way. You'll play the 6th fret on the B, 7th on the G, and then the 7th on the A. So you just hit that and kill it. So hit it once. So the pattern here is we keep going from a 1 chord to some type of an F chord. So it plays an F chord in second inversion, and then first inversion, and then root position. And whenever you're playing the F chord, you're gonna hit that one twice. So this first one is D minor, you hit once. Then it goes to an F major with C in the bass. And it's an F type chord, so you're gonna hit it twice. But in the same kind of stop, keep muting it, kind of staccato style. So how you play this, if you have that F bar chord we did before, really all you need to do is pick up this index finger and just place it across the top 2 strings of the 1st fret. That way that'll make that note on the A string be in the bass. So you just hit those 5 strings. All right, so we have this. Then it goes to that B flat major that we did in the verse already. Hit that once, because it's not an F type chord. And then you're gonna go to an F with A in the bass. So that's basically an open A string. So now all we need is that little bar across the high E and the B at the 1st fret, the 2nd fret on the G, and that 3rd fret on the D. But this string now, the A string is open because with that A in the bass, it's a 1st inversion. So this one was a 2nd inversion because C was in the bass. This one's got an A in the bass, so it's 1st inversion. And you hit it twice because it's an F chord. So hit this. Then we're gonna go to a G minor 7 chord, and one of the most popular and just most comfortable. You can jump up here, play it like that, but it's just more comfortable. So once you get used to it, just play it like this, and you don't have to move around too much. That's the 3rd fret there on the low E, and I'm muting the A string with the bottom of that, my finger, kind of the meaty part of my middle finger there. And then the ring finger will bar the 3rd fret across the D, G, and the B. So just hit that once, and then to the F major chord, because it's an F chord, twice. So all together. Now we do this little picking. It's just like an E flat major to a B flat major. Kind of arpeggiate it. And I'm going to use a little bit of hybrid picking here just to kind of pick up the voicings that they're using, the little melody that they're doing. The best way you can do it like down here. I feel like that's actually more difficult with this area of the fretboard than just playing it like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm playing the 3rd fret, I'm barring from the high E to the G, the 3rd fret. In front of that, you'll play the 4th fret there on the B, and then reach over here for the root note here at the 6th fret on the A. So what you're going to do picking-wise, and this is going to be the same picking for the next chord as well. You're going to pick the A string with the pick, and then your middle finger will pick the G string. You do that at the same time, so hybrid pick. And then, just with your pick again, you can pick the B to the high E. So like this. And then you go grab this B flat major chord, but you don't need the whole chord anymore. You just need these top 3 notes and this bass note. So the best way to do it is just bar from the high E to the high E to the A string. And here even, you really don't need a full bar. A lot of times when you're doing bar chords, like even for this D minor we did and stuff, you really need the outside notes of that bar, so the middle of the bar can be relaxed. Like I can play this right here, and I'm holding down this note on the A string, and I'm holding down the high E string, but it's like my finger's like arcing, so it's not having to smoosh down all 5 strings. It's really just taking in the A string, and then the high E string, and then those on the middle are muted because these guys are playing on those strings. It doesn't matter, and that allows you to use a lot less pressure instead of just actually trying to smush all those fingers down. So you do the same thing down here. I'm feeling the high E and that A string at the 1st fret, but the D, G, the B are muted, and then that kind of relaxes it a little bit. So you get used to that little mini arc when you don't need the notes in the middle. And then we have in front of it the 3rd fret on the G, 3rd fret on the B. So then we're just gonna pick once again, picking the A and the G together, and then pick the B, high E string, so it is. And then you start over. So that's kind of just 2 times You play this riff twice. And after this second time here playing the E flat to B flat, you're gonna come up here and grab that B flat over C again, and vamp on that. And that's when you hear the solo coming in. Now the solo, Jeff Lynne's playing this solo. I know he's using a Les Paul. Not a fan of Les Pauls, we all know that. But so I'm just gonna stick with this. So I'm gonna a little bit of distortion on here, and this is over the verse chords, by the way. So let me play the solo for you though, and I'll show you how to play note for note. So kind of really a net pickup-y tone, really kind of a muffled sound to it. And we're going to start here with this little F major arpeggio that starts, you're going to pick the 10th fret there on the D string, then the 10th on the G, and then 10 on the A. Sorry, it's an A note, it's on the B string. And then go up to the 11th fret there on the B string, and then do a quick little hammer from 10 to 11, back down to 10. So it is. Then. So that right there was, you did a bend at the 12th fret on the G string. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna kill it, and then it's still got the bend though, and then pick it again. So it's pre-bend, and then release. Then down to the 10th fret there on the G string, and then we have this. So that's a quick little hammer from 10 to 13, I'm sorry, on the B. Over to 10 on the high E string, then back to 13 on the B. So far this. From there we have this. So if that was just back to the 10th fret there on the G, and then back to that 12th fret bend. So I did kind of 3 bends, and that last one I brought the bend back down. Then back down to this 10th fret there on the G string. Then we'll go, that's gonna go back, you're gonna pick the 12th fret there on the D, kind of muted, then go 10, 12 on the G, back into a bend there. So we have this. All right, and then we have this. So that's gonna be back at the 12th fret there on the G real quick. And then we're just, for after that, it's gonna go 10 to 12 without any bends for a couple times. And then after the third time, bend up that 12, back down, back up, back down, and back down to the 10. So it is. And then the end of the solo. So that's just climbing up here on the G string, 10th fret, 10, 12, 14, bend and release, half step bend and release. Back down to 12, and then slide from 12 to 14. Some vibrato there, and then this ending lick, pulling off 15 to 14 on the G, then down to 12, 10. And that is it for the solo. So let me play through it one more time for you. There's some harmonized parts there, but that's the main one. That's the one that he would do live, so just play that one. All right, so then we're back to the clean setting here. Back to the verse, so the same verse we did before. Then back to the same chorus we did before. Now these chorus sections get really elaborately orchestrated eventually. So basically plays this chorus. When it gets to the chorus the second time, it does that, the same thing we did. We kind of just playing things kind of staccato. It does this 2 times through like it did in the first. But then it goes through them again one more time, and it's going through the same chords, but it's so heavily orchestrated, and there's all this like stuff going, these voices and instrumentation going on. It's kind of harder to pick up, but it's the same chords. So instead of just playing them like this, you just kind of start relaxing. That's all I'll do with those parts. And then that. So after one time, it's just kind of like playing like a relaxed version of it. So 2 times like we did in the first chorus, and then 1 time through those chords was kind of more relaxed. It's got all this orchestration going on, and then we ended that same. And then we had that electric, when they're doing like that electric blue sky, that computer voice type of sound, that's over the verse. So you're just doing the verse chords over there. All right, so you're hearing that section there, and then what it does, it comes in with like a normal, the verse vocals come in again, and we play through the verse one more time. So we did 1 time through the verse progression over that, while there's that little electronic voice going on, and then when it repeats the verse progression a second time, the normal vocals come in. However, this verse, this one sequence of the verse with these vocals has a little bit different ending here. It looks like this. All right, so that was a little bit different ending. So the usual ending of these choruses are, not choruses, the verses. But this one does that B flat to that B flat over C. But instead of going to the F chord from here, then back to that B flat over C, it goes up to a D flat major chord. So it's just like this B flat we did, but played at this 4th fret. And then move that up 2 frets to the E flat major. So it's just that one verse. So after it's the verse that happens, so you don't play the verse 1 time after that blue sky electronic voice, the electronic voice solo. But that's how we're gonna end it and work our way. We're gonna go back to the same chorus chords, but it kind of gets there in a different way. So we have this. And then we basically have the chorus again. Now this chorus is the, that thing. It's basically played 4 times through, but heavily orchestrated. So you'll kind of hear it doing the kind of staccato, and then just the kind of laid back version. I just kind of pick through them. But at the end of the 4th time, you kind of like, it just basically does this. Instead of going, I kind of slow it down and just play the full chord. So just at the 4th time. So that was just playing the full, this E major. Remember we did this E flat in before. We're gonna play those 2 chords, we're gonna do them in reverse. We're gonna play that E flat chord, down to the D flat. This is at the end of that, basically this last chorus. And then it ends on actually an F major add 9 chord. That is not fun, especially down here. So I've made an easier way to play in that, which is, even though it probably sounds better down here, but most people aren't going to invest their time to learn that. You can do it here. Kind of a different sounding version of it, but it's the same chord. So it's just basically an F major chord with a G on top. So, but the G is actually in the middle in the real voicing. The This is why that one sounds better. Like I said, it's almost impossible to play. If you wanted to play it, it's basically first fret on the low E, third on the A, fifth on the D, and then 2 on the G. So come up here instead, and just 13th fret there on the low E, 12 on the A, 10 on the D, open G string. Just strum those 4 strings. Don't do that in there. Not good. All right, and that's kind of like where sometimes you'll hear this kind of end on the radio edit. They'll stop there. But there's a really cool section. Like I said, this just goes through just different styles and stuff. It starts in this D-flat Lydian vamp. So I'm going to play through this whole section, just kind of my arrangement of it. Like I said, there's a lot of instruments playing all this stuff, but some really cool chords in here too, so you don't want to miss out. So it looks like this. All right, some really cool stuff there. Just trying to emulate some of the piano lines and all that stuff. So the arpeggiation, you can't get the same arpeggios going because obviously I'm not on piano, but you know, we're trying to just fake it here. All right, so this D-flat Lydian vamp thing, there's multiple ways. You don't have to do it like I was doing with the big stretch. You can do it down here into this chord. So that's a little bit cumbersome. So it's kind of like, doesn't require as much of a stretch. But it's a little bit of a finger twister. Probably sounds better down here. But I'm playing it up here because it's just more simple overall to play. It's just you need to work that stretch out. So this modal thing is, so how this mode, so this D flat, a lot of times when you're dealing with modes, right? If you don't know, so a lot of modal harmony is static. It just kind of works. There's chords that are moving, but the harmony and the bass, not all modal harmony, but much more modal harmony, we're just implying a different note in the bass in like a tonal progression. So basically, if you look at D-flat Lydian, if you want to know what's going on in this music here, so D-flat Lydian is in the key of A-flat major. It's the 4th mode of A-flat major. So if you play the 4 chord and the 5 chord, no, those are always they're the pillars of any major key. Those are those 2 major chords, whole step apart, kind of really have all the active notes in them that propel you back to the 1. So they're basically those 2 chords there establish the key better than the 1 chord. So when you are doing this, if you play those 2 chords, the 4 chord and the 5 chord of say A-flat major, so that's a D-flat major chord and an E-flat major chord. So I'm just doing those triads on those string set here, we do 2 and 4. And you put a mode in the bass. So in this case, a mode is just, so it's a different note in the key being heard as the tonal center instead of the original tonic. So instead of A flat being, so if I played A flat, that's A flat major, right? It's just still. But if you put a different note in the 4th note of the key in the bass, and then play those same 4/5 chord of the parent key of A flat major on top. You hear that note as the tonal center, but that's what gives you a Lydian sound. So that 4 or 5 chord is very important. I can keep doing that 4 or 5 chord if I wanted it to not be a Lydian, like if I want Dorian, so Dorian is B flat. B flat is the root note of Dorian in the key of A flat major. A flat major, the second note is B flat, so that second note is Dorian. So if I played that, the same, but over that B flat. Doesn't sound like Lydia anymore, it sounds like Dorian. It sounds like B flat Dorian. It's that tonal center that changed. All right, so that's what's going on here. So we're just basically playing the 4 and the 5 chord over this for the most part, and then it goes back to it does go to an A flat major chord at one point in the progression, but it's mostly just working with that 4 and 5 chord. But that A flat major is also obviously in the key of A flat major, right? So we basically are going to start with here is just this basic D flat major chord. I'm going to go up here with this bar and grab that note up there. If you want to do it less stretchy and probably better sounding, but more tedious to play, I'm playing this bar across 3 frets here on the first, 3 strings, I'm sorry, at the first fret, 2nd fret on the B, 3rd on the D, 4th on the A. And then I'm going to go up here, I'm going to play this, what am I doing? We're barring at the 3rd fret now, but I'm going to be playing the 4th fret there on the A string, 5th fret on the D. And then I'm barring the 3rd fret there from the G to the high E. And then on top of that, and inside that, we had the 4th fret there on the B. That's kind of that's a chord change is kind of, I mean, you can dial it in, but it's harder if you can't, if you can do the stretch, this is much easier. All right, so basically doing that between those two. Just once, twice. Here's where the vocals come in on that 3rd one. And then the 4th one, we do this. So that 4th time through it, it just went to that. And then back, up. And then it goes to this. All right, so this right here is just that bar at the 4th fret here, from the high E to the A string, 6th fret on the D, 5th fret there on the G. That's that, D flat here, but we have an A flat major chord on top of it. And then back to the, do that one more time, and then once again, it goes to that. So you just kind of listen to those changes. So in the beginning here. So that's the first time. Second. Third time. Now here's where it starts moving. And then back to the. And then now it starts moving in. But now instead of going to this chord that we did before, we're going to come down here to an A flat major chord with first inversion. So that's going to be this 3rd fret there on the A, 6th fret there on the D, 5th on the G, 4th on the B. All right, now from there, we go to A flat diminished with C flat in the bass. So in first inversion, A flat diminished. That'd be the 2nd fret there on the A string, 1st fret on the D and the G, open B. That's that C flat. All right, from here we go to this. So it gets really cool, the chords get cool. So we're gonna start here, and I'm just playing, this is kind of the way I voice them. This is an E flat major triad with B flat in the bass. So a 2nd inversion E flat major triad. So this is coming from that, resolves that E flat major chord. So that's the 3rd fret there on the G string, 5th fret there on the D, 6th, you can see how I'm playing this with those 2 fingers. Now pinky's gonna grab the 6th fret on the A string and then the 6th fret here on the low E. So you start that there first. It's a basic triad in the 2nd version. Then they add the major 7th on top to make it a major 7, E flat major 7, still keeping the B flat in the bass. And you do that by just borrowing that G to the B string at the 3rd fret. So you basically incorporate the B string at the 3rd fret now. So I start without it, then, so it gives it a little bit of movement, right? Then from there, it goes to an F minor 7 flat 5 chord in 1st inversion. Yes, in popular music, we used to be able to use these chords. Now we can't. We can use one note at a time over a same beat that runs for 5 straight minutes. All right, so this F minor 7 flat 5. This is the 4th fret on the low E string. You're gonna mute the A string under that. Then the 3rd fret there on the D, 4th on the G, 4th on the B. All right, and then we get this really cool one. That's nice. That's a B flat dominant 7 sharp 5 chord. And that is played, in this instance, the 6th fret on the low E string, mute the A string with the bottom of your index finger, play the 6th fret there on the D, 7 on the G, 7 on the B. Now, these B flat 7 chords, these sharp 5 chords, why are we sharpening a 5? Because it wants to pull to the 3rd of. It's a really great transition. It pulls us to the 1. So that's why they're using it. It kind of just really drives that home. All right, so from there, now this is where I said it sounds Rachmaninoff-esque here, well, the piano, and this is just what I do with it. All right, so kind of free time at the end. You can do whatever you want, really. So this E major starts with that same E major chord we did before. E flat major, I'm sorry, that we did here. This basically that bar chord, major bar chord, the 6th fret there on the A string. I'm just picking up from the bottom string up to the B string. The A string up to the B and then back down. Just kind of filling up space, arpeggiating it. And then I do the same thing, but I move it to a major 7th chord. And it has the 7th in the bass. But you don't usually hear that too much, major 7th chords with the 7th in the bass, but it's chromatic. It's a chromatic little line. Very, very cool. So that major, and then we get to this major 7th chord, but it's the 5th fret there, just the 4 middle strings are playing here. 5th fret here on the A string, 8th on the D, 7 on the G, 8 on the B. Same picking. And then we're gonna go to a D flat dominant 9 chord. So that is the 4th fret here on the A string, 3rd fret on the D, and then you're gonna bar the 4th fret across the G to the high E. So I'm doing the same picking. This one's held twice as long. So I'm gonna do the same picking just on 4 middle strings twice. And then I kind of go, just because it's fun. It's basically, this note is still in the chord. It's just kind of arpeggiating, it's kind of moving the notes up, create a little melody. So those 4 middle strings. And then I do this same the picking pattern, but it's not the 4 middle strings. I pick the A string, but then I go G, B, high E. So I basically moved it to those strings. And then catch that 6th fret on the high E on the last one. So it's just what I'm doing with it. But won't exactly match recording. That's my interpretation of it. And then we're to that same E flat with B flat in the bass. And this is where it just kind of really kind of starts slowing down. And then it goes to this, just gonna end it with an E flat major chord, just kind of held. It feels like it wants to go to this chord because it has that fifth in the bass, which is unstable. And then it just finally makes its way to the full E flat major in root position. All right, a lot going on chord-wise in a song. If you want to tackle the whole thing, hopefully this was finally kind of lift the veil on some of those chords are going, especially in that ending section, which can get a little bit crazy. And doing an interpretation of that with one guitar and standard tuning. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.